Welcome to my channel. The story was The Postmaster. The postmaster took up his duties in the village of Ulapur. Though the village was a small one, there was an indigo factory nearby, and the proprietor, an Englishman, had management to get a post office established. Our postmaster belonged to Kolkata. He felt like a fish out of water in this remote village. His office and living room were in a dark thatched shed not far from a green, slimy pond surrounded on all sides by a dense growth. The men employed in the indigo factory had no leisure. Moreover, they were hardly desirable companions for decent folk, nor is Kolkata by an adept in the art of associating with others. Among strangers, he appears either proud or ill at ease. At any rate, the postmaster had but little company, nor had he much to do. At times, he tired hand at writing a verse or two, that the movement of the leaves and the clouds of the sky were enough to fill life with joy. Such were the sentiments to which he sought to give expression. But God knows that the poor fellow would have felt it as the gift of a new life if some jinn of the Arabian Nights had in one night swept away the trees, leaves and all, replaced them with a macadamized road, hiding the court from view with rows of a tall house. The postmaster's salary was small. He had to cook his own meals, which he used to share with Ratan, an orphan girl of the village who did odd job for him. When in the evening the smoke began to curl up from the village cowshed and the squirrels chipped in every bush, when the mendicants of the ball sect sang their shrill songs in their daily meeting place, when any poet who had attempted to watch the movement of the leaves in the dense bamboo thicket would have felt a ghostly shiver run down his back, the postmaster would light his little lamp and call out Ratan. Ratan would sit outside waiting for this call, and instead of coming in at once would reply, "Did you call me, sir? What are you doing?" The postmaster would ask. "I must be going to light the kitchen fire," would be the answer, and the postmaster would say, "Oh, let the kitchen fire be for a while. Light me my pipe first." At least Ratan would enter with puffed out cheeks, vigorously blowing into a flame a live coal to light the tobacco. This would give the postmaster an opportunity of conversing. "Well, Ratan, perhaps he would begin, "Do you remember anything of your mother?" That was a fertile subject. Ratan partially remembered and partially didn't. His father had been fonder of her than her mother. Him she recollected more vividly. He used to come home in the evening after his work, and one or two evenings stood out more clearly than others. Like pictures in her memory, Ratan would sit on the floor near the postmaster's feet. As memories crowded in upon her, she called to mind a little brother that she had, and how on some begone cloudy day she had played at fishing with him on the edge of the pond with a twig for a make-believe fishing rod. Such little incidents would drive out greater events from her mind. Thus, as they talked, it would often get late, and the postmaster would feel too lazy to do any cooking at all. Ratan would then hastily light the fire and toast some unleavened bread, which, with the cold remains of the morning meal, was enough for their supper. On some evening, seated at his desk in the corner of the big empty shed, the postmaster too would call up memories of his own home, of his mother and his sister, of those for whom in his exile his heart was sad, memories which were always hurting him, but which he could not talk about with the men of the factory, though he found himself naturally recalling them aloud in the presence of the simple little girl. And so it came about that the girl would allude to his people as mother, brother, and sister, as if she had known them all her life. In fact, she had a complete picture of each one of them painted in her little heart. One noon, during a break in the rains, there was a cool soft breeze blowing. The smell of the damp grass and leaves in the hot sun felt like the warm breathing of the tired earth on one's body. A persistent bird went on all the afternoon, repeating the burden of its one complaint in nature's audience chamber. The postmaster had nothing to do. The shimmer of the freshly washed leaves and the banked up remains of the retreating rain cloud were sights to see, and the postmaster was watching them and thinking to himself, "Oh, if only some kindred soul were near, just one loving human being whom I could hold near my heart." This was exactly, he went on to think, what that bird was trying to say, and it was the same feeling which the murmuring limbs were striving to express. But no one knows or would believe that such an idea might also take possession of an ill-paid village postmaster in the deep, silent midday interval of his work. The postmaster sighed and called out Ratan. Ratan was then sprawling beneath the guava tree, busily engaged in eating unripe guavas. At the voice of her master, she ran up breathlessly, saying, "Were you calling me, Dada?" "I was thinking," said the postmaster, "of teaching you to read, and then for the rest of the afternoon he taught her the alphabet." Thus, in a very short time, Ratan had got as far as the double consonants. It seems as though the shores of the season would never in canals, ditches, and hollows were all overflowing with water. Day and night the patter of rain was heard and the croaking of frogs. The village road became impassable and marketing had to be done in punts one heavily coated morning. The postmaster little people had been long waiting outside the door for her call, but not hearing it as usually, she took up her dog-eared book and slowly entered the room. She found her master stretched out on his bed, and thinking that he was resting, she was about to retire and tea top when she suddenly heard her name Ratan. She turned at once and asked, "Were you sleeping, Dada?" The postmaster, in a plaintive voice, said, "I am not well. Feel my heart. Is it very hot?" In the loneliness of his exile and in the gloom of the ranch, his lying body needed a little tender nursing. He longed to remember the touch on the forehead of soft hands with tinkling bracelets, to imagine the presence of loving womanhood, the nearness of mother and sister, and the exile was not disappointed. Ratan ceased to be a little girl. She had once stepped into the post of mother, called in the village doctor, gave the patient his pill at the proper intervals, sat up all night by his pillow, cooked his gruel for him, and every now and then asked, "Are you feeling a little better, Dada?" Full story next video. Thank you so much for watching this video.